last few weeks, you're starting to see some cracks in the armor. And for the second time in the last 3 now, the Jets' defense has really not put up much of a fight against an offense missing its number one weapon. It was Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins 2 weeks ago. And then tonight, without Amari Cooper, Joe Flacco, the ageless wonder, completely lights him up in the first half and essentially ended the game before the second quarter was over.
Yeah, when you look at it, and we talked about, the matchup issues that they would have, before Elijah Moore got hurt, he was able to work the perimeter. And then when you look at what, Njoku was doing, and I told you he's one of Joe Flacco's favorite, teammates to go to. Like, he's a security blanket for Joe Flacco. And he was exploiting that matchup, and it was apparent and evident early on, that it was going to be a tough day for the safeties and the linebackers to match up with him because he's one of the better yak type of quarterbacks. Tight ends. And you talk about, every time we were talking, I was trying to illustrate some things, being that I was on the same team when Bill Callahan was there, his ability to just have automatics built in based on fronts. And I was saying, hey, guys, watch this. When you have uncovered guys going to automatically block back and they're going to pull 2 guys, it's all a math game. It's a numbers game. And as they continue to wear you down, you just saw that the Cleveland Browns was a very well-coached team and had answers to solutions. And sometimes you can't go in before the snap with the solutions, but you empower your players to be able to be high percentage decision makers based on what you told them. And you can tell that they are surrounded, the Cleveland Browns, by a bunch of teachers on that staff. And when Saleh came, he said he was going to bring in a bunch of teachers. But sometimes when you look at the product on the field, you're not sure if they're teaching these guys at a high level, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Just the nuance and the idiosyncrasies that, are what the great teams do when they come together and try and build a bond.
Yeah, I thought from the gate that the Cleveland Browns pretty much predicted and dictated what they wanted to do. They was going to run the ball. They was going to have semi-play action with Flacco. He was going to out-leverage the defense and get the ball into the flat. I think the biggest problem with the New York Jets is they just started slow. Like, when you see Flacco take the shots he has and you don't adjust right away and you kind of let the bludgeoning happen, they just got it. It was just too far gone coming out of halftime for me.
But even before halftime, right? They scored. We went down and scored. So I was excited about what I saw, that they didn't just take it laying down. They went back and responded. I mean, how many times have we seen the Jet offense go down and get a touchdown in the first quarter?
Right.
So I thought, they were good there. They just didn't make the adjustments to what Flacco was doing with these half throwbacks and giving a guy like Flacco the ability to make plays outside of the pocket, which he's not known for, but maybe because he sat on the console long, the old man got fresh legs right now.
Right.
That's what stood out to me, is that the offense did enough in this game when you factor in the circumstances. Trevor Siemian under center. They're starting a lot of guys on the offensive line that typically wouldn't start. They did enough. And the defense, we don't say this a lot on this show, but they weren't able to get it done and hold their own tonight. And I think what's a little frustrating in games like this, because you could start to see a little bit of a pattern. For the most part this year, this Jets defense has been very, very good. But the games that they're exploited like this, there's a common habit, and that's they're playing a team that can be funneled into one superstar player, and they don't treat that player on the opposition different. And what I'm saying by that is, go back to week 2 against Dallas. CeeDee Lamb destroyed them. They put CeeDee Lamb in the slot. They kept CeeDee Lamb away from a lot of the Jets' great perimeter corners, and he destroyed them. Go back not that long ago when Tyreek Hill was out and they were against Jalen Waddle. They didn't treat Jalen Waddle any different than anyone different on that Miami offense. Look at tonight. We go into the game, Amari Cooper is inactive. Bart says on the pregame, David Njoku is a guy that can really beat you tonight. And if you watch the film, if you're the Jets defensive staff, since Flacco came in, he's been feeding Njoku, and they're making it an effort to get him the ball. Njoku has almost over 100 yards in the first quarter. The Jets, they're a very good defense. They haven't been the problem for most of the year. But games like those 3 I just mentioned, they don't treat stars differently. They kind of just operate like every week is the same.
Our system is our system. Saleh said that. He doesn't adjust like that.
That's almost arrogant to the point where I have significant questions next year when, say Aaron Rodgers is healthy next year, and say you could score 30 points every week. When you lose games like this and you put up 30 with your star quarterback, that target goes on you, and the system isn't enough. And this isn't one of those things like it's a disaster or anything like that, but this staff has been given the green light that they're back next year. This is something that would concern me.
Borderline arrogance. It's borderline arrogance.
It is. No, it is arrogant.